So PZ management is all done through the competition center. And to do this, in the top right hand corner, you'll see there is a maps menu and the option to go to PZ management. When you come in here, you'll see that we don't have any PZs to start with. So we're going to upload some and then start setting up that library. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new polygon PZ. And a polygon PZ is one that has a set boundary around an area. Now, the reason we'll do this first is they're generally the most common types of PZs we see. So to do this, what we actually do is we upload an Aussie Explorer track line to set the boundaries. So let me just show you in Aussie Explorer how you set up a polygon PZ. So to do this, what we do is we go into Aussie Explorer and we draw a track around the boundary of the PZ that we wish to create. And then we put in a description in the track properties describing what you want it to be. Then you save that track file, and then back in the PZ management tool, come into the form here, and we will upload that track line. So that's that PZ1 PLT file there. When we upload that, we hit the process file, and this will bring up the form so that you can set up what the PZ is. And I'll walk through the settings. So firstly, at the top, you have the type of PZ. So a red PZ is one that you can't fly in. A yellow PZ is one you can't land or take off in. And a blue PZ is generally used for any aviation restrictions. So for example, a maximum altitude that pilots can fly. But we're going to do this as a red PZ. You'll see that it has automatically brought in the description from that track file within Aussie Explorer. Now we want to set the altitude limits for this PZ. So firstly, the top altitude, so this is the top of the PZ, is set at 1800 feet. The bottom of the PZ is the height of the ground. So we've established that that is 984 feet. So the maximum distance is what the formula uses to calculate the penalty that the pilot's going to get for breaching that PZ. And what it is the length of the furthest points that you can have within that PZ. So the way to work that out is to use Aussie Explorer and use the line tool to draw a line from the most two extreme points within that PZ. So here we can see it's from the top left corner to the bottom right corner. And we've got a distance of 924 meters. Okay, so what we want to do is enter that distance, the maximum distance, into the form. So we said it was 924 meters. We have the latitude and longitude list. So these are all the different vertices of that polygon shape. And then we're going to turn that online. So that now means that it is online and ready to be included within the PZ penalty calculations. On the right-hand side in the actions box here, we actually have an option to view that PZ on a map. So we can view it within that map and check that everything looks correct. And that looks like what we had set up in Aussie Explorer. Okay, now I'll just show you what we can do to actually turn this into a yellow PZ. So a yellow PZ is one that you cannot land or launch in, and it has a different calculation. Basically, if you launch in a yellow PZ, the pilot will get a no result for their first task. And then if they land in the yellow PZ, they will typically get 250 competition points on their last task in the flight. But to do this, we simply come into that PZ and we flag that it is a yellow PZ. Now, the thing to note about a yellow PZ is they don't actually need an altitude set for the top or the bottom, and they don't need a maximum distance because the calculation is purely based on their landing or launch point and whether it is within the boundaries. So you can leave those there or you can set them to 0. It doesn't really matter. So once I save that, we can now see that it's flagged as a yellow PZ again, and it says that we can't land or launch in it. And if we look at the map, we'll see that it's now been flagged as a yellow PZ. So now we're going to create a circular PZ. And the way we do that is also using Aussie Explorer to create a waypoint for the PZ that you want to be circular. So here we've created a PZ called PZ2, and we've placed it on the location. And we've given it a 500 meter proximity and an altitude of 1800 feet. So what you can do is create that PZ and put all that information into the waypoint properties. So now that we have our PZ file, what we're going to do is we're going to come into this form and upload it. One thing to note is that you can actually have multiple waypoint circular PZs within the waypoint file. So it doesn't matter if it's just one or you could have 10. What it will do is it just loops through and imports all of those PZs, and then you can go and add all their details afterwards. Anyway, we're going to upload this file here, process it, and you'll see that it has now created a circular red PZ. Now it is by default not online because we do need to go and add some altitude details as well. So we'll go in and edit that PZ. We can see it's a red PZ, PZ number 2, it's horses. The radius is 500 meters, which has been picked up from that waypoint file. Top altitude's 1800, and we're going to set the bottom altitude at 1410. That's the ground level, and we're going to flag that online. Again, you can go and view that in the map, and we can see that that's set up correctly. You'll notice also at the top here there is a button to view map. This will show you all PZs on the map, so we can see, once you've got them all set up, exactly where everything sits. Okay, now we're going to add a blue PZ. So a blue PZ is the altitude limits for where pilots can fly. Normally it's around controlled airspace or a top altitude that you're allowed to fly to. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to add a blue PZ for the entire map. So when I click on blue PZ here, it gives me the ability to add some of the details. So basically what I'm going to say here is that for our competition map, pilots are not allowed to fly over 10,000 feet. And then we're going to leave that blank around the latitude and longitude because we want this to apply to the entire competition map. So that's all I need to do. Once that's created, we now have a limit of 10,000 feet that the pilots can fly to. Now I'm just going to delete that PZ because what you can also do is you can use a polygon to create an area of altitude limitation. So for example, you may have multiple different airspaces on your competition map that you need to set bottom altitudes for at different heights. So what we can do is the same way that we uploaded a polygon red PZ, we're able to draw the boundaries of the PZ within Aussie Explorer as a track file, and then we can import it. So I'm going to do that. I've already created one called a blue PZ, and I'm going to upload that PZ file. And when we come into the form, what we want to do is choose this to be blue PZ. We have the details here as we did before. We don't require a top altitude because it pretty much goes up to the top of space. So we're going to say 0 for that. The bottom altitude, as we said before, is going to be 8,000 feet. And we don't need a maximum distance across the polygon because it's not used in the blue PZ calculation. Once we hit online, that creates the new blue PZ, and we can go and view that on the map and see that it covers that whole area to the east of Canowindra.